I got to kick this thing off. Can I kick it off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Ladies and gentlemen, listen.
So I think there's a key point that we're overlooking, or maybe we just haven't talked about yet, though. And people often talk about, when you talk about the state of Georgia, you say there's Atlanta and then there's Georgia. But across Georgia, there's a lot of rural Black people.
Yeah.
You know, on my other show, I have, Representative Shanita Wilkerson Howard. She comes on all the time. There's a lot of Black people in these rural areas that when you're talking about this Democratic Socialists of America, their agenda, we're talking about the potholes and the child care in the city. But there's some of these same issues that's out in the quote unquote country as well, that where you look at Georgia and you look at the history of voting rights for Black people in the South, and some of that apathy may be just, hey, nothing's going to change. Or some of it may be, it's ingrained in me not to even think about really voting, because back in the day I couldn't, because it could have been perilous for me and my family.
Right.
So I would like to see, I'm not as confident as you two are for Keisha. I sincerely hope that she wins. She has all of my support, but I don't ever underestimate the wickedness and the extremes that they will go to try to make sure that they still win. And that's the part that concerns me. Not the fact that we had the numbers, but I'm concerned about, okay, we got the numbers, we should win. Now you got to get people out.
Still got to get out the vote.
You got to get them out. You got to get them out, right?
Right.
And I mean, you see, they did it to Stacey. So we just can't underestimate the extremes that they would go to try to maintain power.
Yeah. Well, I also think though, Atlanta is, for a lot of people, like you said, there's Atlanta and then there's the rest of Georgia. So a lot of people are already familiar with Keisha Lance Bottoms that are outside of Atlanta, because when you think of Georgia, they've seen her in action in Atlanta and seen, while she was mayor. Some of those people may not have necessarily been as familiar with a Stacey Abrams on a statewide level, because they didn't really know her, so people in other areas may not have felt comfortable. And I mean, that's a little thing. And there's more to that about being comfortable with her. You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to say it. You say I was smirking. I'm about to say it. And I can say this as the resident fat dude on the show. Optics matter.
Yeah.
Optics matter.
It does.
And it doesn't matter to us on this show, but for a lot of people, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Because in corporate America, if you are overweight, it limits how far you can ascend. You see it all the time. People are like, they've been fat and then they lose weight. Also, oh man, I lost all this weight. And next thing you know, I got a promotion. And it's real. It's real.
Well, not even that though. It's just different. I mean, there's just that, and then just overall, just in corporate America too, just attractive. I mean,
yeah.
You look at. I hate to bring it up, but this current administration, everybody in their administration it's like a casting call. You have to fit a certain look, a certain aesthetic. And it's not talked about a lot, but that gets some people to vote for him, because you look like you're from Central Casting and your opponent doesn't. And so I may not necessarily agree with what you say, but that's what I think my representative should look like, or that's who should represent me. That's me, and so there's an aspect of that too.
And again, we're not saying that that's right.
No, but
it's the thing that that people don't like to say that's
Yeah.
Makes sense.
that's real.
We say the quiet parts out loud.
Right.
I think the other thing that people don't really think about too is like when you said there are two kind of parts to Georgia. It's Atlanta, that's kind of like this mega city, and then there's rural Georgia. I lived in Atlanta when Katrina happened, and there was this migration of people from Louisiana into Georgia. They did not like the Atlanta portion. Like some of that was a little bit, Atlanta can be pretentious. So I think that
A
New
lot of
Orleans,
people say Atlanta's not a real place. If you go and
no.
visit, it's really not. It's not.
But so Louisiana is a lot slower,
Yeah.
and Georgia is a lot slower. Atlanta is fast, but
Yeah.
Georgia is slow. Georgia is real southern and real slow as a whole. So you had that influx of Black people from Louisiana and from those Katrina hit areas move up to the city when they lost everything, trying to just get reestablished. Well, by the time they got, you know what I mean, settled somewhere and maybe got a 50 cent from FEMA, it didn't make sense to go back to Louisiana because it wasn't, done. They had already found a job. So a lot of people just stayed. And so I think there's one more Black people in Atlanta since then, that was what, 2011. But how long ago was that?
2006. 20 years.
2006?
This was 2005. Last year was 20 years.
Yeah. That's 2005. Yeah.
It was a long time ago. But these people have been in the city basically, and like you said, they're I think a slower, different type of southern group of people than the Atlanta group of people. So I think that we need also candidates who can speak to both of those type of mindsets because
for sure.
A lot of people don't like that fast talking in Atlanta. I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if you're trying to swindle me. And then those Southern people that are a lot slower, a lot more deliberate and things like that. You need a candidate that can speak to both of them. And I think Keisha kind of has that. Not that Stacey didn't, but like you said, there are other things at play there. But I think that Keisha's got the aesthetic, and she also has the reputation for when she was mayor. But then I think she also has a personability that's real Southern. And so it's not that necessarily that fast-paced big city Southern. It's kind of real Southern. So I think she has all that we can give her to be successful. So that's all. That's all.
Right.
She's got the HBCU. She went to FAMU.
Mm-hmm.
She's got she's a Delta, right? So when you put those together, you got HBCU, who alumni systems have infrastructure. You have D9, who has infrastructure to be able to get people out and to vote. So she's got a lot going for her. There's some people who are critical of her, how she handled her time as mayor. But I think over time, we've realized that a lot of these people are paid actors and paid to create confusion. I think for the most part, I never lived in Atlanta, but Atlanta is the Black Mecca. I'm gonna ask y'all this question after I make this point. So really, all eyes really go on Atlanta, because I remember there was a time when it was looking kind of precarious if there was going to be a white person as the mayor of Atlanta. And for Black people, why that matters is because Atlanta is considered the Black Mecca, because it is the only place where you can actually move there and not have to deal with white people. It's a place there where you can go and say, you know what, I don't really have to struggle to try to find a way to spend my money with Black people. I have representation in my local and state government. I see people that look like me. Whereas when you live in places like where Arika lives, I'm not sure for you, but where I used to live when I was outside of Dallas, you go in there and you seeing all white folks. And why that matters is, you can have policies put into place, but the people that are in charge of dispensing whatever benefits come from that and in control of the purse strings and decisions that make sure who receives what, if they don't look like you, then it might be a 50-50 chance if you're going to get a fair shake. And that's why this whole redistricting thing matters. So they said, well, why does it matter? You know, you can just go out and just vote. No, but if we don't have anybody that looks like us, they're not going to really be in tune to what we need or be able to speak to what we need. So that's why that matters. But let me ask y'all this question. Do y'all feel like Atlanta is the Black Mecca? And if not, what city is?
I think that even though Charlotte is trying to rival it, I think Atlanta is still the Black Mecca. Well, I think because it's like I saw an article that talked about the growth, the market growth and the
Yeah, well,
population growth and everything. So it is a growing city. So that's why I say trying to rival it. But I think there's no place like Atlanta. Like when I lived there, if I don't want to interact with white people, I don't have to. We used to forget that we could just go for days and just not see white people. And then you would see one, you'd be like, what you doing out here in DeKalb County, sir? Like
yeah.
we would have to go to Cobb County to see one of them. And it was just like, it was like being in an HBCU city.
Oh, right. That's a good analogy right there.
You
That's
know,
a good analogy.
another place that used to be like that, and I think it still might be South Side of Chicago. And
I was just about to say,
segregation is tough in Chicago,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You could spend the weekend in the South Side of Chicago, you will not see a white person.
right, right. Except for you might see him on the expressway going through.
Right, the damn Ryan.